Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Bachi Boys podcast. We have returned. We have another show for you. We didn't go too long this time. We have NFC to go through. We have more picks to get through for the NFL and so much more, including Olympics. Make sure you stick through the entire episode. The Bachi Boys have you covered. Roll it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. Davis, welcome. We have another great episode for the people. Got a lot to get to this time. Starting with some NFL. We had a listener tell us, off air, of course, Mr. Ryan Barrick, tell us that he needed a little refresher for this NFL season. And, we had to give it to him. He said he really enjoyed our college football predictions. So we're going to do that with the NFL. Before we do that, though, Davis, we need to discuss the NFC a little bit. We'll talk about the AFC in another video, but I know you got some of your best eyes on this. So who are your favorites for the NFC this year? Who's going to be among the NFC elite?
Yeah, so, let's quickly looking at let's just go to DraftKings, right? Let's look at some odds. All right, yeah. I know we have our predictions, which we'll show next, so We'll try not to spoil who our predictions are, but Ethan, this is it's a pretty good year. I know you're getting 3 out of the 4 divisions here in the NFC with a favorite at a minus number, but I think this whole division, this whole conference is kind of up for grabs, honestly. There's a lot of teams who made a lot of interesting moves over the offseason. You saw Kirk Cousins move to the Falcons, and the Falcons got a new coach. You never know what they're going to do.
You do not.
You saw the Eagles get Saquon Barkley. You saw the Lions just bolster as much as possible. Again, the Packers, Jordan Love looks like he could possibly be an MVP candidate. And he just got the biggest deal in NFL history. So we had a crazy offseason. A lot of money was thrown every which way except to me and you, which I was a little disappointed about. But I do think there's a lot of really solid teams in this conference, and only a few teams I would say that are really bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, I agree. Let's just cover who's bottom of the barrel, honestly, let's start there. I think the Panthers are going to be really, really bad this year, possibly the worst team in the NFL this year. I know they didn't have the number 1 pick this year, or technically they did, but they didn't have the rights to it because they traded it away. But I think they might get it again this year, considering things aren't great. But also, like you said, the NFC is good this year. I can't really pick more than a couple of teams on one hand who are going to be bad, really bad this year. Panthers, probably the Cardinals. Maybe you want to throw in the Giants in there, maybe the Vikings, but I don't know. Maybe the Giants and Vikings surprise you. But you know, somebody has to be bad. Somebody can't make the playoffs. So I'm really looking forward to seeing who that is.
100%. And before we'll get to our predictions, I just want to throw it out there, Ethan.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll make a lunch bet on this at some point. You'll see I know you know who it is, but who my favorite team is to have the worst record in the league, which we'll show later. But I actually think the Panthers might not be as bad as some people think. Bryce Young, he got some talent around him this year. They just drafted a wide receiver.
Deontay Johnson?
They got Deontay Johnson. It's better than Adam Thielen being wide receiver 1, in my opinion, and DJ Chark. But I think their offensive line was so bad last year. I actually think this Panthers team.
It wasn't so bad. It
wasn't. But this, I don't mean to say this is a joke because it might come across. I don't think the Panthers will have the worst record in the NFC. And I actually think that could be a take. A decent one, because a lot of people have them at the bottom of the barrel.
It's not a bad take, but who is then?
It's a great question. Off rip, I would have to go with the New York Giants. I think we'll see the Arizona Cardinals the first few weeks. They have a tough schedule to start the year. I'm pretty sure their first 6 opponents that they play all made the playoffs last year. So I think
it's a tough division out west.
Correct. Yeah. Coming into the beginning of the year, I think people are going to be all over Arizona being the worst team, but by the end of the year, I wouldn't be shocked if it's this New York Giants team.
Yeah, I like it a lot. So before we get to predictions, are there any good value picks that you like to win their respective divisions?
100%. You'll see my favorite one later, so I'm going to leave that off the table. But if I had to go with my second favorite pick at the moment, I think I would definitely have to look in the NFC South, because you never know I think 9 wins could win this division again, to be completely honest.
I agree.
So I think you could definitely look at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as a possible value bet coming into the year, especially with an Achilles, Kirk Cousins coming off an Achilles, whole new offense, everyone's pumped again. This feels like repeat of like 2-3 years ago, and in the last few years, everyone's like, Kyle Pitts is back. I don't know. I need to see it to believe it. I think that's a decent value pick. And my second one would be the LA Rams. I'll go into that one as we move forward to our predictions, because
I like it.
Interesting pick with the NFC West.
The Rams and the Falcons are going to be two very interesting fantasy teams for sure as well, that we'll get into in the coming weeks. But Davis, I think it's time. Let's look at the predictions that we made for the NFC and the AFC. We will just get more into the AFC betting odds later on in this week. So, Davis, I want you to explain your NFC picks.
So I'm going with the Eagles. I am taking full bias out of this. I really am. I'm trying my hardest, and I hope it doesn't come across this way. I think the Eagles are in store for a Super Bowl run this year with the way their team is looking. Their new coordinators.
Again, not biased, right?
I'm trying. Yes, not biased. Non-biased. I think this team, I know they lost Jason Kelce. He obviously retired over the offseason. But, I mean, this team has, again, this has been the last few years, they have a top 3 offensive line, a top 3 defensive line. Jalen Hurts now has Saquon Barkley in the backfield to help him out. We added some pieces to the linebacker position. I mean, and not only that, last year's whole debacle with bringing in Matt Patricia as the defensive coordinator after that bye week, really, I mean, the defense was incredible.
I'm trying to push that out of my mind, but it's really hard to wrap your mind around how bad it was.
Correct. It was insane. But Ethan, I am so excited for Kellen Moore to bring his offense in here. I think the Kellen Moore offense will bolster. I think the Eagles might break a ton of franchise records this year when it comes to offensive play. They're going to play. They're going to have so many plays. That's Kellen Moore's ideology, is the more plays we run, the more points, are probable.
The more versatility, the more depth in that playbook, the better, for sure.
100%. So I think this offense is going to be fantastic. I just need to make sure that the DBs and the corners and the safeties kind of are addressed, which they were addressed in the offseason. Now we're a little young. We went with
DeJean and Mitchell.
Mitchell in the first round from Toledo, I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
And then we brought in Cooper DeJean. He has a ton of hype behind him, and I don't know.
He's on the reserve list right now, by the way. Let's point that out.
I am very excited for this Eagles team, and our one foe, the Dallas Cowboys, are definitely looking on the down and down. And also, not only that, this continues the streak of not having consecutive division champions for, I'm pretty sure now, like 20 to 21 years.
It's definitely over 20 years. I think it's 21. That is definitely something continues. I've been very conscious of that very thing for maybe the last 5 years. So I'm really hoping that they are the ones to break it, because they were the last team to win back-to-back in this division. When they won like 4 or 5 in a row in the early 2000s, when they were an NFC dynasty but couldn't finish the story.
Correct.
Unfortunately. So Davis, let's talk about the NFC North. Who you got there?
I've got the Detroit Lions. I'll save this pick for a little bit later. I have a best bet on them.
Okay.
So we'll get to that. But let's go down to the Falcons. I know I just told you, and I just told everybody listening, the Buccaneers have good value. I'm picking the Atlanta Falcons. I still think this division is still up for grabs. I really do. But as I said before, this division, you might win this with 9 wins. And I'm almost positive the Atlanta Falcons come into this year playing the easiest schedule in the entire NFL. This is just strictly a chalk pick to, I'm looking down the roster, the 53-man. I think the Falcons have the best 53-man on paper. I'm not very confident in the fact that they can, produce on the field, but I think the Falcons have a, 65 to 70% chance to win this division.
Agreed. And then what do you like in the West?
Yeah, I am very down on the San Francisco 49ers this year. Everyone talks about
That's
it,
fair.
Ethan. Everyone talks about it, but if you go back and look at stats, Super Bowl hangover for the loser is a real thing. You saw it with the Eagles last year. We've
Yeah,
seen it in
it
years
is.
prior. Like, I mean, even the
It's
Eagles
more of
coming.
a thing for the loser than the winner recently.
Correct.
Yeah,
I think for the winner, it might be week one. There's been a few years
yeah.
recent memory
But I mean,
where.
last year though they won the Super Bowl, so they lost week 1. So
Correct. So there's definitely an ATS against the spread trend going that way. But the
yeah,
San Francisco 49ers have a brutal schedule this year, and a lot of their games towards the end of the year, they are playing teams coming off bye. They have short rest. There's a rest disadvantage stat that I've heard in the past, where like if you're playing a team coming off a bye, that's a big disadvantage for your team since the other team's
yeah.
well rested. This San Francisco 49ers team, this is going to be the hardest rest disadvantage in all, 59 years in NFL history.
So what about the Rams? Do you like, or do you just hate the Niners?
So the Rams, they're coming off a year where statistically they ended the year fantastic. After their bye week last year, Matt Stafford had it figured out. McVay got the team on point. And their only losses were very, very close games. They lost to the Ravens in
Yeah,
overtime
yeah.
last year on a punt return. Like, I
That
think
was crazy. Yeah,
I
I remember
really
that.
do think this Los Angeles Rams team could sneak up on some people this year. I think
For
that
sure.
they're going to come for vengeance, and their team is very, very well rounded. Even on the defensive side, that's a side that they've had to address. Aaron Donald's not there anymore, but I think
Yeah.
I think this Rams team is all around. They look like a division winner to me.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start from the bottom of that NFC West, just where you did. I do have the Niners here, so it's not that I'm just gonna disagree with anything you said. They do have a tough schedule this year. They are coming off of a Super Bowl. They're definitely getting older, but they are still one of the most talented rosters in the NFL by far. They are still one of the more seasoned teams, and I mean, it's probably easier to say this, on the outside looking in, but they have to be out for blood. Have to be. They have been embarrassed by Mahomes in 2 out of the last 4 or 5 Super Bowls, whatever it is. They should have possibly been in the Super Bowl before, but they had the thing with us and Brock Purdy the year before. But this team is too good not to win their division. It's not that I don't like the Rams or the Seahawks or the Cardinals. I just really think that the Niners, while they are going to run into tough opponents, they're still among the NFL's elite, let alone the NFC's. So I just can't see them losing. Going to the NFC South, I am going to listen to you about the Buccaneers value play. I really like the Buccaneers. I think people forget about them every single year, especially since Brady's left, which, probably has only been 2 or 3 years, but it feels longer. I also giving respect to my man Baker. I didn't have a ton of hope going into the Eagles Buccaneers playoff game last year, but hey, shout out Baker. He balled out in that game. They almost beat the Lions that next week too in a game that I was like, oh my God, Baker, you had the one game against us, but are you going to go to the NFC Championship? So, shout out Baker, shout out Mike Evans, who's a first ballot Hall of Famer who doesn't get enough credit, which is kind of more what I'm leaning towards is that offense revolving around him. They still have Chris Godwin. They still have Rashad White, who I think might make a big jump out of the backfield. But don't forget about legends like Levante David on that defense. They really are well-rounded. But, Davis, the thing that you stuck out to me is the winner of this division will be 9-8. I just don't know who it's going to be.
Yeah, I mean, it's insane
you don't know.
actually how this division could wrap
Yeah.
out.
Don't count out the Saints either.
Agreed, 100% agreed. Because you know what, Spencer Rattler apparently looks pretty good in training camp. We'll see who's going to be that starting quarterback by the end of the year.
The Saints are sipping the same juice that the Patriots fans are when they're looking at Joe Milton. So
Yes, exactly.
Let's pump the brakes on Spencer Rattler and Joe Milton. This is not NCAA 24. You know what I mean?
100%.
So I don't love the Buccaneers either. I think that the Falcons also have a chance of just falling apart, whether Kirk gets hurt and Michael Penix steps up, or I'm sorry, Cousins just doesn't have it anymore. He's coming off a second significant leg injury, and he's over 35, so you never know what could happen.
Yeah.
And then NFC North, you didn't really cover this one. I love the Packers this year. I really, really do. They got some really key free agency additions people aren't thinking of. They got Xavier McKinney, the safety from the New York Giants. And then they got somebody else I, for the life of me, cannot think of. That was a big
Josh Jacobs. They got Josh Jacobs.
They got Josh Jacobs. I'm sorry. So that, I mean, they replaced Aaron Jones, who went to the Vikings, who I'm sure will be great there fantasy-wise, but Josh Jacobs feels like a home run pick to me. The rookies from like 2 years ago that were all in that same receiving core have all grown up. I just think that Jordan Love is going to take a step forward with this offense. And while I love the Lions, they just feel more like a wild card scrappy team that can make more noise that way rather than going back-to-back divisions. They've only won one division title in like technically ever because they never won an NFC North championship before last year because it was classified as, I think, the Central the last time they won it or something. That crazy.
We'll get there on the deep dive. I'll get there.
Yeah, I'll let you talk about the Lions, but I do love Jordan Love and the Packers. And then tying into the Eagles thing, one thing we haven't talked about, Davis, this Packers-Eagles game week 1, wild. They are both green teams going into Brazil, a green, like, repping country, and they're not allowed to wear green.
Well, that's because of the stadium.
Because of gangs who apparently wear green, like the fans were told not to. But apparently the teams aren't going to wear green in their jerseys either, which I don't know. I would assume the Eagles are going to go all black and the Packers are going to go all white because I saw they just debuted an all white jersey, but like there's still green in those jerseys.
100%. I have no idea what's going to happen. I think
why would they do that?
This might be the worst, the least thought out thing the NFL has ever done before. It's insane.
Why are they even having a game in Brazil? No hate to Brazil. I understand that, but just like if you're gonna do that, don't do both green teams.
It makes zero sense.
Do the Buccaneers and the Niners or something, so you don't have to worry about it.
I will say that Friday night is gonna be a cool game for a Friday night.
Yeah, that will be, and that's the night after. That's the night after the Chiefs play the Ravens, right?
Chiefs Ravens, yep, correct.
So yeah, that'll be very, very cool. And then so let's get into my pick for the Eagles. Completely biased. I love the Eagles this year. Go Birds.
I like it. I gave you the unbiased. I like it.
And then their defense is good. Love Vic Fangio. More than Kellen Moore, to be honest. I think he'll be instrumental to our success.
I agree.
All right, so let's talk about the AFC real quick. We can talk about it more in a couple of days when we review them more, but obviously we both have the Chiefs winning the AFC West. I have them winning the AFC West for the next 5 years. So the next 5 videos we do of these, I'm just going to put them there.
100%. Yeah, I don't even think we need to talk about it. Other than the fact that John Harbaugh's in the division now, I don't think it.
I'm going to bring much.
Josh Herbert.
Justin
what?
Justin Herbert.
Herbert.
Also, I want to bring something up. We were crapping on the Broncos the other day. Apparently, Bo Nix looks really good in camp.
I gotta see I
saw a couple of videos. And I was like,
this is Ben Simmons making 3-pointers over the summer, and it's like, oh, this is the year.
But Bo Nix is the kind of guy that like you hear his teammates being like, wow, I haven't heard anything about him. I haven't heard I haven't seen anybody doing it like this before, and you're like, oh, maybe there's something to it. But
we'll see. I will never
Sean
forget.
Payton loved them. He gave him the plays the night before, and he figured it out.
Bo Nix's first game in college was the first college football game I'd ever watched when I was in college. I'm pretty sure we watched that game together, actually. He was at Auburn, and they were playing.
Oh, yeah.
Who did they play? They played it wasn't Georgia. What'd you say?
It's not Penn State, right?
No, they didn't play Penn State. No. But forget. I'll do my research and look. But all right. I mean, that guy. I felt like that guy was in college forever.
Yeah, no, he was.
Let's go up the list here. We both have the Texans. I don't think we just need to breeze over this one because I think
I was going to change. I had this last second the Colts.
I think the Indianapolis Colts can definitely make some noise. I am actually just a little
I don't
bit
hate the
worried.
Titans either.
Yeah. I need to see a little bit out of Will Levis this year. But. Sure. I think this Indianapolis Colts team is really good. I'm just a little worried that AR-15 won't stay healthy the whole entire year. We only saw him playing 4 games last year, and he only finished 2 of them. So we'll see. But let's go on to the Texans because, I mean, they brought in Stephon Diggs. I was a little bit worried that they are going to have a little bit of a sophomore year slump this year. They're not going to CJ Stroud might have a little sophomore year slump. There's a lot more film on him.
As well as Stephon Diggs, they also brought in Joe Mixon and
Correct.
Daniil Hunter from the Minnesota Vikings, who
Correct.
people
I
might
think
not know who that name is, but he is a dominant pass
beast.
rusher.
Yes.
Yes.
I think this Texans team, like, if you were to give me, do I think it's going to be, by the end of the year, a one game difference? I'll take the over 1.5 on the game difference. I don't know if that's a prop, but if it's not, I'm going to reach out to client
This might be the most.
That's right.
This might be the most competitive division in the NFL, though. I think
The
all
next
four
one?
teams. No, this one.
Oh,
This one, yeah. I think all four teams have
really?
equal chance to win this division. I mean, not equal, I should say. I think the Texans are probably favored by a lot, but
Really?
I think the Colts have a chance. I think the Titans have a chance. We don't know really what they had with Will Levis, but he had a couple really good games last year, and I mean, it helps when you have DeAndre Hopkins and you can just throw it up to him, and when you're playing a crappy
Yeah.
team, but still, he looked very good, and they added Calvin Ridley. They got a new coach. They added a lot of pieces, especially in the backfield. They now have freaking Tony Pollard, and then Jacksonville. They reloaded. So I don't hate this division, but let's go to the next one because that's also a very 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 tough division.
Yes, I think this is the toughest division of all football.
Yeah.
There's a team every single year, Ethan, that goes from the bottom, the number 4 spot in their division, to end up winning their division. It happens literally every single year. I don't know why. And my pick this year is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals to do that. Last year was a fluke, no Joe Burrow for much of the year.
Who won that division? Was it Baltimore?
Yeah, and the Bengals came in last. And let's not forget, they still went 9-8. So they
had 9 wins last year.
I'm pretty sure they went 9-8.
Shout out Jake Browning. Shout out Jake Browning.
Dude, Jake, 100%. He played really well. I think this Bengals team comes back, and I think they are going to be pretty dominant this year. I think this is your classic Bengals Chiefs AFC Championship game year. You know what I mean? I'm not calling that right now. I don't. But it feels like that. It feels like Burrow's back, and he's coming back for vengeance as well. But I just quickly want to touch on your pick before you do, because I'm down on the Steelers this year. I have them under 8.5 wins. I think the streak ends.
You're down on them?
I think the streak ends this year of the winning record. Ethan, I'll let you explain, but can I explain to you their weeks 11 to the end of the year? Baltimore, at Cleveland, at Cincinnati, Cleveland, at Philly, at Baltimore, Kansas City, Cincinnati. Ethan, they might not make it. They might not win a game.
I don't know. It's not great. That's not great. But I mean, Philly and Cincinnati being mixed in there probably not great especially non-division. But okay. So I don't know what I just said, but yes. My line of thinking here is I love Russell Wilson and I love Justin Fields. Straight up, I really do.
You see, there was just a big brawl. See the brawl?
Yeah. I'm aware that Justin Fields is kind of the starter right now because Wilson's hurt. But at the same time, they brought in a couple pieces on defense that I can't think of that I'm just like kind of saying. I just kind of also love that they brought in Arthur Smith as their OC. People are not thinking about how good of an OC he is. The last time he was OC, he made the Tennessee Titans a number 1 seed in the AFC with Ryan Tannehill as the starting quarterback. I just want to make that clear. Like that, that's no small feat. It deserves more than just a pat on the back. I think that Mike Tomlin, let alone Arthur Smith, having 2 quarterbacks like Russell Wilson and Justin Fields is not to be ignored. And then on top of that, I really like the weapons. I think Pickens is waiting to break out. Seriously,
I agree with that.
He is just waiting for it. I think getting rid of Deontay Johnson was probably a good thing for that as well. And then I've heard that Justin Fields loves Darnell Washington, who's like the 6'8" tight end they drafted last year. That would be cool. But what this really comes down to is I believe in Justin Fields. I hate to say it. I hate that I'm even feeling this, but I have a connection to Justin Fields. I picked him up off waivers 2 years ago in fantasy when nobody believed in him, and he had a crazy year. And I can't get that year out of my head. It didn't go away. He played very well down the stretch last year. People don't want to talk about it. They don't. But he played well last year, especially at the end of the year. And the only thing that don't look at me like that. But the only thing that like really gets me like stopping in my tracks is the offensive line is not great, but it's better than it was in Chicago. And on top of that, the Steelers defense just always comes to play. I think that the Steelers are done messing around because they've been in the middle path of the NFL for it feels like almost 10 years now. I know they had that weird undefeated season that they didn't feel undefeated at all like 4 years ago, but I just think that they're going to be good. And I like Mike Tomlin and Justin Fields together. I do.
I can't wait to clip this and show it to you in 2 months.
And then on top of that, the Ravens are going to take a step back. I
think so too. They lost their DC.
I don't love Derrick Henry.
I think them losing their DC is going to be huge.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting he's the Seahawks coach now.
Let's go to the AFC East quickly. I'm taking the Jets. I honestly am just not a huge fan of the Bills. They haven't. They're struggling to make noise, and they lost their biggest weapon on the outside and lost some.
I don't think that's as important, but it's definitely
agreed. But they lost a few key. Their defense is not going to be the defense we remember it to be. Their defense is going to be pretty tough this year, and Josh Allen's going to really need to step up his game and limit the turnovers, and we haven't seen that. He led the league in interceptions and turnovers last year. I think he did that 2 or 3 years ago as well. So I'm going to take the Jets, and I'm going to ride with a healthy Aaron Rodgers. And this defense, this could be the best defense in football, Ethan. This team last year actually was in games, and they had Zach Wilson at quarterback. Yeah. I mean, this defense.
Trevor Siemian started games.
Yes.
Who was the other dude? He was really bad.
Boyle.
Yeah, he was really bad.
So, I mean, I'm putting my full faith in this defense, Ethan. I think this could be dominance that we're seeing this year out of this defense. And I need to see it on offense, but let's also not forget Breece Hall. I think Breece Hall is going to, by the end of the year, shake some heads as if whether he's the best running back in the game or not.
I am struggling to hold in how much I love Breece Hall fantasy-wise this year because of how good he was last year and how little opportunities he had.
In our keeper fantasy league, I've been very open with Matt Stiers that I want him and I'll trade anything for him because he's going to be a stud.
I would love to extend the same condolence sympathies, whatever the hell you would call that, because I feel that. But I will say before I get to my pick, which is the Dolphins, I think the Jets are one of the few locks to make the playoffs this year. I just don't think they're going to win the division. I do think that they're really good. That defense is incredible. The offense is there. I've seen videos of Aaron Rodgers like very vigorously arguing with Garrett Wilson, which I'm sure is not great to see as a Jets fan, but that should be what you want to see. They're challenging each other, getting better. And if I'm Aaron Rodgers, I want him perfect. And if I'm Garrett Wilson, I listen to him because of look who he had 3 years ago, Devontae Adams, who is still one of the best receivers in the league for playing with him.
Yeah.
So I love the Jets, but I don't know. I just think that they're going to fall short. There's something in the air in Miami that I think they're clicking. They've been the epitome of wrong timing, wrong matchups the last couple of years. They need to win a couple more regular season games, obviously, but I love the Tua and Tyreek Hill connection. All three of them are under contract till 2026 also. So I think that's something to monitor. And they brought in Odell as a third option, which it's whatever. He could be nothing, but it's something to get the eyes off of Tyreek Hill and the subconscious minds of a safety or corner that will work. And then also Miami has some work to do on defense, but they got Jordan Poyer from the Bills, who's a good safety. And they are dealing with a couple of their really good young edge rushers coming off of ACL injuries. But I think those guys can be really good, especially Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips is really, really, really good. He got injured last year, but I do really like Miami's defense. They just have to stay healthy. Everybody was hurt at the end of last year.
You know who else on the end that they just picked up in the first round this year? They picked up Chop Robinson, Penn Stater.
Did they? Oh, wow.
He could definitely make some noise.
Bradley Chubb as well.
Yeah. The Penn State front seven in the NFL right now looks pretty solid. I mean, you throw Micah Parsons in there, you're throwing some,
for sure.
The edge
Carter
rushers
will be joining them soon.
yeah, exactly. So we'll see. But Ethan, I think that's good. I think that was a good talk. These are good predictions. I'll get to the NFC North later. But there's a lot of football ahead of us, Ethan. I really can't wait.
Yeah.
And I'll put it up. We'll talk quickly about some Super Bowl odds. But we'll save some picks for
just
next
eyeballing this right
podcast.
now. I want to say that the Eagles at plus 1,500 is a very good value pick to take right now if you're an Eagles fan at the beginning of the year.
Agreed. I think I
Get
really
them
do.
while you can.
I really do agree. I think what save our picks, our actual Super Bowl matchup that we're picking for next podcast. But for this one, value wise, I mean, I'm still looking down the list there, and I'm still looking at the Rams and the Falcons, two teams that have the potential of being NFC winners and division winners. And I want to stay away from the AFC as much as possible when looking at this list because
I don't. We already know our AFC champion this year.
It's so hard to beat the Chiefs.
No, it's going to be the Chiefs. It's going to be the Chiefs.
So that's why I like looking at.
I think there's a chance it could be the Bengals. Everyone's going to pick the Bengals this year because Joe Burrow in New Orleans, by the way. So don't forget about that. But Davis, I just want to throw one Super Bowl thing out there. I think a very chalky rematch with the Chiefs and Niners is incredibly possible this year.
Agreed.
I think it's very, very possible. And if you're feeling it like I am, bet that right now because I don't know. I really like that.
We'll get some odds on that too. But here are some of the odds. And some teams that are making some moves, with some teams that are moving up the list, and some teams that are moving down the list that we've seen up at the top of the last few years.
Yeah, I mean, the Dolphins have really slid down the list. Especially after, they have been at the top of that list just because of having Tyreek Hill. So now being below the Cowboys is probably not great for the Dolphins, but it is what it is. So, Davis, let's get to your special picks of the week. I know you really like the Lions, so tell us why.
Yes, Ethan. I think this Lions team might be the shocker this year. I think they have a good chance of possibly coming out of the NFC as the 1 seed, actually, coming into the playoffs. I cannot believe that this division price on them is plus 135. I think it definitely should be minus money. I know the Packers played well to end the year last year, but I need to see more consistency out of them.
I think the Bears and the Vikings being decent throws that in there, correct?
Yeah, but not by much. It's really the Packers that are the ones keeping it close. As I've mentioned to you in the past, I loved all Jared Goff stats too. I think him leading the league in passing yards. They play 14 of their 17 games inside this year, and 2 of the games that they play outside are like in September or the beginning of October. Like they're gonna have 0 weather issues. I think this offense is just going to explode this year. They have by far the best offensive line in football, by the way. I think this Lions team. I did not put Super Bowl winner up here. But I think this Lions team has.
You're feeling it. You're thinking it. It's entered your brain multiple times.
I am. I'm not putting it on paper yet, but just throwing it out there. Also,
because you're an Eagles fan and you're reserving hope for them, or
no.
Oh, okay. All right.
Cool. I think an Eagles Lions NFC Championship this year could be electric.
That would be a very fun game.
Yes,
agreed. That would be a very, very fun game.
Agreed.
And then I see at the top. You love the Patriots for fewest regular season wins. Why? I do agree, but why?
I've actually slowly been betting this over the last 2 months. It originally started
betting plural. Has you've done this multiple times?
A few times. They were 6-1 this time 6 weeks ago. And I was like, that can't be possible. They don't even know who's going to start at quarterback for them. This is the end of the Belichick era.
Yeah.
Their offense look at their receivers, Ethan. They don't have any wide receivers. Their offensive line is trash.
I heard that Jalen Polk was like a 3rd-round pick, has been their best receiver.
Yes. I think this Patriots team, and they're in a tough division, they're going to struggle this year. I don't see them winning more than 4 games. So I think this is a great bet. I would be nervous about the Broncos, for sure, behind them. But again, as we were saying earlier, the NFC's tough, man. You could put the Panthers there, but I think the Panthers could, shake some heads and actually win 6 games this year.
I totally agree with everything you said. I think the Patriots should be better than they are, but it's shocking that we have come this far in this little time.
It's insane.
I know Belichick made the playoffs the year after Brady left, but
then they got demolished by the Bills.
It declined quickly after that playoff loss for sure.
Yes.
All right. So, is there something you want to talk about?
It's one thing I want to talk about, Ethan. I think this is a great weekly segment that we can do every week.
It's not a weekly segment. It's not a weekly
segment. It is. Oh, sorry. Every 5-day segment. Today was Paul Skenes' day. Okay. He pitched today. The Pirates
took Skenes looks different in that third picture. What's going on there?
The Pirates took the loss today. It was not on Skenes. He came out of the game. They were up 4-1 with 2 runners on.
Who did they play, by the way?
They played the Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks are good, man. They're on a roll right now. But Skenes keeps his ERA under 2. He left a guy on base when he came out, so that second earned run was not him pitching, but it's still on him.
Couldn't be me.
And he's still having a dominant year. So he's actually throwing the football right there too. So he knows what's up.
A guy like me would go longer than 5 innings, just saying.
You've heard 5 a lot in your life. That's a good number.
He has never finished a game. Once he goes a complete game shutout.
Have you ever finished a game?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. For sure. Are you kidding me? Paul Skenes has nothing. All right. Let's get to real sports. Let's talk about the Olympics. Let's get to an Olympic update. Davis, you said you watched this. I didn't. So anything you want to talk about? Because when shooting a 62 in your final round at the Olympics is pretty baller.
Yeah, tying the course record Sunday of the Olympics is pretty awesome. Even there's one, I don't know if anybody listening was paying attention to any of this as the week was going on or today, but John Rahm had a 3 or 4 stroke lead going into the back 9 today.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
He blew up, and he's not even on this list. He was, I believe, 20 or 21 under, while most of these guys were at 16 and 17. And
I did not follow that at all.
Yeah,
wow.
He blew up. He double bogeyed a par 5. He double bogeyed a par 4.
Something's going on with John Rahm the last year since he won that Masters. Oh my God.
But this was very entertaining to watch. This golf course was awesome. Tommy Fleetwood was
shout out Fleetwood.
Hideki Matsuyama actually probably
How about Rory?
Rory had a great day today. Hideki actually probably should have won this thing. He just shot even yesterday on Saturday. So and the coolest part about all of this, let alone Scotty crying during the national anthem, which was the coolest thing I've ever seen, was Victor Perez. Victor Perez coming in 4th. I wish he medaled, but dude, these French people.
Who is Victor Perez? You said that name, and I was like, I know who that is. And then
like I was like, no, French golfer. But this was in Paris, so like the ovation.
I'm thinking of the F1 driver. Who is Victor Perez?
The ovations that he was getting as he was having a terrific back 9 day. He shot a 29 on the back 9, I believe, today.
Holy crap.
He was getting standing O's the entire back 9. And it was
European tour guy. Hell yeah.
Because we've never, I mean, I have, but like a lot of people haven't heard of this guy, but because they're playing in France. He had a great interview at the end of the round too, saying, this is going to be great for French kids. Like golf's really getting a turnaround here in France, and you're going to see a lot of golf become a huge thing in France, and you've seen it become a huge thing in America. I mean, golf is transcending the sports world right now over the last 2 years, I would say.
It has, for sure. I mean, the money's behind it, and that's really why. But
yes,
at the same time, it is cool to hear that a major country like France is, hearing about France, hearing about a golfer and being like, maybe I'll try it. So shout out Victor Perez, but also shout out Scheffler for winning the gold. All right, let's go to the next Olympic update. I want to throw this up there. Noah Lyles just won gold like 25 minutes ago in the 100-meter by like less than half a second. So shout out to him.
Yeah,
I know he's been very controversial with talking about the NBA players saying they're world champions of what the last couple of years. All these, he's very, very funny. If you don't know who he is, look him up. So shout out to him. He backed it all up. And then the other thing is the U.S. men got ousted from the 3-on-3 basketball tournament. What the hell? What the hell?
Okay, can I first talk about what are these?
Also, Jimmer Fredette's on that team.
Yeah, he is
wild.
Yes, wild.
Yeah.
What are some of these sports? I was watching. I actually took the time. I haven't been watching much of the Olympics, but I did watch the walking portion of the Olympics.
Wait.
Yes.
Wait.
That is a sport in the Olympics.
Explain it.
It's like race walking. You walk.
But like the line between walking and not running must be so thin.
Do you know what it is? You have to have a foot on the ground the entire time when you're walking. Ethan, I was watching this thing. Not a single person qualified for having just 1 foot on the ground the entire time. They were all
that doesn't make sense.
leaping.
How does that even work?
They were all leaping.
Oh yeah, you have to be like jumping like a bunny the entire time.
This was, I don't even know what some of these sports are. How golf was taken away from the Olympics how many years ago and just reinstated, but we've had walking this entire time.
Yeah, no, I know. It's wild. So to hear that the men's basketball 3-on-3 team, like I know that most of the stars are on the men's team, the regular men's team, and that's where they should be. But like, Jimmer Fredette can't get it done. I see Rick Barry's son was on that team. He couldn't get it done.
No way. He was the underhand.
Yes, his grandson was on that team. I saw that the women's 3-on-3 team got to the semifinals though. So shout out to them because like at least somebody is getting it done.
Seriously,
that's wild. And then the last thing, little medal update: the U.S. in number 1 in golds, silvers, and bronzes, and obviously the overall total medal count. They were really slow to start, so it's cool to see them doing well. And also, I feel like this is the one year that all of their like top names in all these sports are winning. Like Simone Biles has won like 3 golds by now. She's having herself a crazy. Yeah, Ledecky. Is she Canadian?
No, she's American.
You sure? Is she Canadian? I might be tripping.
I think she's definitely American, dude. She's American. Yeah.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I thought I saw something recently. Yeah, so shout out to Kate Ledecky being American. Shout out to her. But no, yeah, United States is going well. I also tried to look up while I was doing this, like who won the last Olympics and countries. They don't keep track of that at all.
No.
It's they don't. And then I looked up like total medal count ever, and it's like the United States is like 2,900 medals, and then second is like the Soviet Union at like 1,500.
Yeah,
and then like Russia's in like 8th, so like no one is ever, no one's coming close. So shout out us being on top of the Olympics, I guess.
I will say, the only thing that matters,
that's impressive.
So
the Olympics got invented in like when BC, right?
No, like 1902 or something. I think it started.
What? No.
Okay. I agree with you. Yes.
No.
The Olympics have been a thing since BC, but they've only started tracking it for like so long. I think.
No. Yeah. Oh. I was like, what are you talking about? Yeah. The creation was inspired by the ancient Greeks.
Yes.
The first one was in
776 BC.
Yeah. BC.
Okay, but the Olympics, what we see today, started in 1896.
The Olympic term was documented in the 17th century. Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. You're right.
So yes, you are correct. The Olympics have been a thing for a long, long time.
I was I thought this was like the only thing that like made the Olympics worth watching was that like, Homer was racing freaking whoever.
Why is it so hard to look up things in the Olympics?
I know. I tried looking up stats and I couldn't find anything.
Are they hiding something from us? They have to be hiding something.
The Olympics, a worldwide sports athletic organization, hiding something? That doesn't sound right.
Nah.
There's never been another worldwide sports organization, shout out FIFA, that's ever done anything bad.
Great documentary, by the way, is the FIFA Uncovered on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, you have to watch it.
You want to hear about a band of bandits and crooks? FIFA. Oh my God. They do not get talked about enough for how they rob people blind for years.
Yes.
If you want to know how bad it is, that the soccer game's not called FIFA anymore because
the amount of bribes and money they were taking.
Oh my God.
The World Cup should have never been in Russia and should have never been in
Qatar.
Where was it? Qatar.
Qatar. Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Why? I know it's coming to America, but like, why is it not in London? Why is it not in Paris? In Madrid? It's all money. Who's going to pay the most money? The Qataris over there. I don't know if that's what they are, but yes.
It's a $5,000 bill. Fake.
Wow.
Yeah.
Look at you.
Actually, it's not fake. It's not
bonus
fake.
Day.
Yeah, it's not my fake. It's real.
Wow. Look at you.
Yeah. Also, I just want to say that the Phillies are winning 2-0 in the top of the 8th. They are probably going to lose this game and get swept by the Mariners, though. So we purposely didn't talk about the Phillies this episode because things are bad.
Yeah, it's been actually, we still haven't won a game, I think, since we last talked on the pod.
Happens. Yeah, it happens. All right. So we appreciate everyone for watching. Last time we got to this far in the episode as a joke. I think we said comment your favorite letter, and shout out Vol because he actually did that.
Yes.
Yeah. So this time, if you get this far, comment your favorite college football team.
Wow.
Right.
That's kind of easy. Let's go. Yeah, I guess college football team's fine. I don't know. I think your favorite color. You got to do your favorite color first. You're going from your favorite letter. Like, imagine trying to explain this to a 2-year-old. Be like, "Oh, what's your favorite letter?" And it's like, "What's your favorite college?"
People to give out personal information, like, yeah, it's gonna be like security information next. Like, put in your mother's maiden name, please. In the
what are those little silly digits in the back of your credit card?
Exactly. Yeah, they're not that bad. But anyway, we're getting off track. Thank you to everyone who watched this episode. Comment below your favorite color. We appreciate you. Bachi boys are out. See ya.